Hello Year 6 and welcome to Thursday's literacy lesson. So today, remember, we are working out of our comprehension book. So it's Thursday, so Tuesdays and Thursdays we are working out of our comprehension book. And it's your new Year 6 comprehension book with the castle on the front. And we are looking at pages 4 and 5. But before we get started, a couple of mentions. I was really impressed with the work that you did yesterday on the writing and improving the writing. It was absolutely brilliant. It was great to see lots of techniques that we've used in class in your writing yesterday. So a massive well done. Sophie, you did a brilliant job in class with me. You did a great job. And Lucas, I'm continually impressed with what you are sending in, and you did an amazing job too. So today then, we are, as I said, looking at page 4 and 5. But one thing before you get started, I want you to just remind yourself it is spelling test day tomorrow. Now, our spellings weren't really tricky this week, but it was the meanings that were really important. So make sure that you are really confident with what each of them means. So have a little practice today of the spellings. You might play a 3 in a line, or hangman, or show me what you've been doing on Edshed, but make sure you've got those meanings in there ready for your test tomorrow. So today then, we are having a look at author intention. So remember, an author is the person that has written it, and they've written it for a certain audience and purpose. And the way that they've written it and decisions that they have made, they will have made on purpose. So we're going to have a look at some questions about that. You've also got a mixture of other questions, but lots of them we've covered before in the videos. So I'm only going to touch briefly on evidence questions today. A couple of word meanings on some words that I want you to just make sure you are clear on. But our main focus today is the author intention. So still answer all the questions, but I won't be going over them all because I think you'll be fine with most of them. Just a couple that I want to look at. So it's the comprehension book, pages 4 and 5. So to get started, once you've practiced your spellings, the first thing I want you to do is pause the video and have a really good read through the text. So it's called Pig Heart Boy, and it's about a boy who his parents are considering giving him a heart transplant, but it's come from a pig. And it's about the discussion. The section you've got is about the discussion between his parents. So have a good read before we get started. So pause the video now and have a read. Right, so hopefully you should have had a read now. I've picked a couple of words that I just want to discuss the meaning of. So the first one then is winced. So it says, I winced, aware of how my dad would react to it. What is the meaning of the word winced in this sentence? So have a pause of the video, find that little bit in the text, read a little bit around it, use the sentence. What do you think that might mean? So I should have had a really good think about that now. So wince then, so aware of how my dad would react. So he knows he's going to get some sort of reaction from his dad. So a winced means where you sort of like prepare yourself. You might shrink backwards in preparation for how somebody might react, and it might not be in the best way, the reaction. Okay, so the second word that I want you to look at is scoffed. So find it in the text. In this sentence, it's because you say so, Mum scoffed. What is the meaning of the word scoffed? So have a look at the bit before, the bit after, use that sentence. Pause the video now. What do you think the meaning of the word scoffed is? Right, so scoffed then means where you're almost like mocking what someone says. So in this, you say, because you say so, Mum scoffed. So she thinks that's a bit of a joke that we should do something because he says so. Okay? So it's where you mock what somebody is saying, how you react to them. So the second thing I want to look at then is just a couple of inference questions just to remind you of how important evidence is. So I've got, look at the paragraph. So remember, that's really important. Make sure you're at the right paragraph. Beginning, I couldn't bear to listen. Then it asks you, how is Cam feeling in this paragraph? So you've got to read the paragraph, think about how he's feeling. So the first job is to name the feeling. The second part is to use evidence to back that up. So I'm going to go to the text. I couldn't bear to listen is what I'm looking for. So skimming and scanning skills, really important. So it's here at the bottom. I couldn't bear to listen anymore. I turned and raced up the stairs, stomping down my feet as hard as I could as I ran. I got halfway up the stairs before I started hurting, so I slowed down, but I didn't stop. So I know here, my key bit here, that he's stomping down with my feet as hard as he could, and he couldn't bear to listen. I think he's feeling angry and upset. So my first part to answer this question is Cam is feeling angry and upset. So the second part then would be that evidence, because he ran up the stairs stomping his feet. Remember, because it says. So the second one I want you to have a look at then. How can you tell that Cam's parents disagree about the heart transplant? So I want you to, it's more of a whole text, that one is. So I want you to pause the video. How can you tell that they are having a disagreement about Cam's heart transplant? Okay, so I want you to pause the text now and have a look at that one. Right, so having a look at that then, if we go back to the text. So I know that they disagree, I've just got to find the evidence. So if I'm having that, I can tell that they're having an argument. So it says here, Mum's voice was lemon bitter. So she's bitter, she's not very happy about the situation. Okay, so it's Dad's turn to hit the roof. So they're arguing about it. That's how I know that they disagree. They're arguing about it. Mum's not speaking very nicely to Dad. Her voice is bitter. There's lots and lots of evidence here. Okay. So argued again. We've got the word argued. So you might have picked out a few of those bits. So remember, it's all about evidence, what the text says. Okay, so you've got a couple of inference and evidence questions. Make sure you are using that key phrase because it says. So what I want to look at now is that author intention. Okay, so the first word I want to look at, now this is based on the first question, but I just wanted to discuss it. Now lots of you will know what sarcasm means. You might have had somebody saying that to you at home, don't be so sarcastic. It's quite a hard thing to describe. So I just want to briefly touch what sarcasm means because you need that for one of your questions today. So sarcasm is a statement or a comment which means the opposite of what it says. So if you are being sarcastic, you might say the opposite of what's actually meant. Okay, so you might say you've got to go to school, or so someone's saying, right, come on, you've got to get up and go to school. So they might say you love school, and you might say, yeah, I love it. Okay, so you'd be being sarcastic because actually perhaps you don't like it. Okay, so you might say that about like vegetables or something. You might have Brussels sprouts put in front of you and say, come on, eat your Brussels sprouts. You love Brussels sprouts. And you might say, oh yeah, I really love them. So it's actually the opposite of what you mean when you say it if you are being sarcastic. Okay, so sarcasm, you're going to need that today as well. The other things that I want to discuss with you is italics. So it talks to you about italics in one of these questions when it talks about why the author has done something. Now, italics, as you'll see from my title, is where the words have been made to go in like a slant. So here I've got a couple of examples. So are you going to eat that? That is in italics. I never said that I wanted to go. I said I would consider it. Wanted is in italics. So if I read that in a way that would perhaps, with the italics in, so I might say, are you going to eat that? Or I never said I wanted to go. I said I would consider it. So those words, when they're in italics, are really emphasized. So when you are thinking about italics in the text today, why would the author then put them into italics? Have a think about that. So then it also talks to you today about direct speech. Now remember, direct speech, in fact, have a pause of the video, jot down how you know something that is direct speech. So pause the video now, jot a couple of things. How do you know something is direct speech? Right, so direct speech then, you probably got this down. It's got speech marks in, it's got the word said or synonyms for said, and it's actually what the character says. So a couple of reasons why authors might use direct speech is to develop the characters, so to give an idea what the character is like by how they say something, or to develop the plot, so to develop the story, to move the story forwards, to make something feel like it's happening right now, to make it really, really clear how something is unfolding or how something's happening. So when you're asked that question, really think about those few reasons why an author might choose to use direct speech. So that's all I want to talk to you about today. Okay, so there's lots of questions today about why an author has chosen to do something. So have a really, really good think. Think about italics, so why they might have chosen to emphasize words. Think about why direct speech might be really important in this text. Go back to those reasons. So is it developing a character? Is it trying to make something feel really real because they're having a really important discussion? Okay, then you've still got, like I said, some evidence and some other questions that we've looked at before. So I hope you enjoy the text today. I know I'm already looking forward to seeing your answers. You are doing a really, really good job. We're nearly at the end of the week and you've nearly got a week off. Okay, so I shall speak to you tomorrow and enjoy your text today.